This could be a film, but I don't know. It's Hulu, so maybe a series.
Is a part of you happy that Cal is dead?
Yes! Okay, I'm sorry. You good? You good? You good? You good? Paradise, I'm already calling it Paradise is gonna be like one of those top series that everybody talk about. I don't see how I can like talk about the series without spoiling it. So this will be a spoiler review, y'all. This will be a spoiler review. But before we get started, I just got to welcome back those of you that's joining me again. I really appreciate it. And if you are seeing me for the first time, what's up? I'm Jonathan E. Turner, Jet for short. If you like talking about movies, if you're a movie and series junkie like I am, I think you'll feel right at home on this channel. So today's topic is Paradise. So far, each episode does seem to be centered around someone. So episode 1, Wildcat is down. Episode 2, Sinatra. Episode 3, the architect of a social well-being. And I'm not going to go too far ahead, but episode 4, Agent Billy Pace. And if you saw episode 3, how episode 3 ended, you know why that episode is going to be centered around him. I'm pretty sure this series will get more seasons. So I do see things kind of slowly playing out in season 1. I noticed that a lot in the episode 1, not episode 1, but episode 2 and 3. I noticed that a lot because it started, the pilot episode was amazing. It was amazing. It was everything the trailer set up for us. I don't know about you guys, but it put me more in the mind of something like, not like a John Wick, but something like a Jason Bourne. The whole series had this mystique about it, and I think that's what sold us on it, because we didn't know what it was about. Like, is he a assassin? Is he a spy? Is he just a normal good man that's just in a tough spot? We don't know. So episode 1 was a joy to watch. It was weird in episode 1. They made Cal's character more likable. Like, the more you saw him, the more you started to like him. We got to understand the relationship between him and Xavier. It was like this weird, like, business friendship they had together. And it all just boiled down to the assassination, or the alleged assassination. The whole time I was watching episode 1, I'm sitting here like yelling at the TV like, come on, man, because I just felt like I didn't know which direction the series was going, but I felt like in that moment in episode 1, I felt like it was going to be everybody versus Xavier, because everything didn't, like, he was the last one to see Kyle. He's the only one that has motive to kill Kyle, and he's the closest to him. So I'm like, ain't no way he's getting out of this. But episode 2 comes around. But before we talk about episode 2, I do have to talk about the ending of episode 1. I like that it had a twist to it. It's almost like if you watch a full movie and then the movie ends with a twist. Like, the whole time I'm watching the series, I'm looking over to my wife. I'm telling her, like, okay, something's not right with this place. And I was explaining to her, like, in between, because we do pause to, like, get snacks and stuff. So in between the pauses to get snacks, I was telling her, yeah, this reminds me of like a military camp. So how everything was just so perfectly put together and everything was like too neat. It reminded me of like a military base. I never stayed at a military base in my life, y'all, but I watched a lot of movies, so I put it together. But I wasn't too far off, so at the end, we saw what we saw. They're actually in an underground city. Now, I had mixed feelings at this point, because I'm like, okay, it went from this thriller, and it turned out to be more like a sci-fi doomsday type of series. So now we have different elements in it. Now we have new questions, and they do answer a lot of those questions in episode 2. We see how the whole city was put together, and we see the mastermind of it, Sinatra. And at the same time that we learn about the city itself, we learn about her. We learn that she has issues. I was curious to see, like, is it going to be kind of like, we've seen it before in other series, especially those limited series where they put the spotlight on different possible suspects. So I was thinking it was going to be, okay, Sinatra, what motive does she has to kill Kyle? Okay, episode 3, the therapist, what motive does she has? But it took a different turn. We actually just learned about these characters. That's why I feel like it's going to be more seasons to come, and everything that we're learning now is going to be important in those other seasons. Because right now, outside of knowing like how she works, what makes her tick, it doesn't really help when it comes to like the real story, who killed Kyle. Yeah, I know. With the 3 episodes that we have so far, we have a suspect. We have a prime suspect, but I want to talk about that when we get there. But if we go back to episode 1, the ending of episode 1, I'm noticing a pattern here. So at the end of episode 1, it made Sinatra seem more like a suspect. The way it ended when Xavier was telling Billy, it's something not right about her. I've been watching her. It's something not right about her. And we found out what that something is, but it has nothing to do with Kyle. Episode 2, the end of episode 2, just to refresh myself, I do need to see how it ended. Like, I just want to see, I review it one more time just to see if I'm right about this pattern or not, y'all.
We want it to be just like here, but with more horse rides.
Well, then that's what it will be like.
I may be wrong about the pattern, y'all. So it is a pattern in episode 1, episode 3, but in episode 2, Sinatra, if it did anything, it just made Sinatra more relatable, like as a parent or anyone that just loves a family member or lost a family member. So episode 2, it didn't have like that on the point ending, like, okay, we're going to talk about this character next, but it did give us a good introduction to the therapist. I got to make sure I get her name right, y'all. Okay, Gabriela. All right, Gabriela. To me, episode 3 did slow down a lot compared to the previous episodes. So this episode, we already know everything. We know that Xavier didn't kill Kyle. We know Sinatra didn't kill Kyle. She just kind of messed up in her head. But now we're slowly starting to get to know the therapist. So unlike This Is Us, this is rated mature. So we got our first glimpse of a mature set scene with Xavier and Gabriela. I was confused the whole time, y'all, because towards the end, we saw that it was more like, okay, maybe she's just trying to sneak a message. But at the same time, I'm like, well, maybe she wanted it too. Because she could have easily, I don't know. I don't know, y'all, because I can say she can easily just say, hey, meet me in the bathroom. But it's no way she could have not done that, like, took him in the bathroom in the shower without it seeming suspicious. If there is people listening in to them, we don't know yet. We don't know if there was actually something real with Xavier and Gabriela. The only thing that we have to kind of make it clear that it was just that when they was at the doorstep, he said, I'm married. She said, I know. I know at first we're sitting there thinking, okay, you're just a bad person. He's not technically still married, but he's still going through trauma. The trauma of losing his wife. That was also, well, for me, that was also a mystery. I'm like, is his wife actually dead? We may not be able to say if she's officially dead yet, but he did voice it and say that she died. But we haven't seen any proof. We haven't seen any flashbacks regarding that. But going back to the doorstep, he says, I'm married. She says, I know. They proceed to keep kissing. So to me, that I know means something. That I know was her saying, I know, but I have to get this message to you somehow. And I've been trying. Like we saw when he went to the office, he was trying to ask her questions then. And she just said, hey, you want to take a walk? But Billy being one of the prime suspects now. That's why I brought up the pattern. So we saw in episode 1, same thing happened to Sinatra, and Sinatra was ruled out. I think it's going to be the same thing, but the only thing that makes me think it may not be that same pattern. Like, if I'm being honest, at this point, we're out of main characters. So it can't be like a side character that's the suspect. That'll be like in poor taste. So maybe it is something about Billy. We have to wait until the episode comes out, and we're going to talk about it like in the finale and everything. I'm not going to go episode by episode with you guys. But yeah, it's got our interest. It's got our interest. So we don't know if Billy has a story. Of course, Billy has a story. If we saw This Is Us, we know how Dan Fogelman works. Everyone has a story, and everyone's story is connected somehow. But it's a struggle to try to figure out, how does Billy's story connect to all of this? Like, what did he have to do with the city itself, or Kyle, or it's a lot of questions. They left us with a lot of questions. The more you think about it, the more questions will come up. Coming from This Is Us, and I watched Life Itself, which is also directed and written by Dan Fogelman, I came in with expectations. And I think those expectations wasn't met, but I don't think that's a bad thing. This Is Us and Life Itself, those two products are very similar. But This Is Us, Life Itself, Paradise is something different. And I think we have to kind of look at it as that. So if we're fans of This Is Us, we have to look at Paradise as something different. I know it's hard because it has like the same music and everything. Not the exact same music, but I noticed it's the same tone. I think This Is Us was dun 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 dun, and Paradise is dun dun. I mean, I'm not a singer, so I ain't gonna embarrass myself, but you get what I'm saying. It's the same feel, but I think the genre is different. I think this is more of a mystery thriller, not a dramatic comedy or just a dramatic series in general. So we got a dramatic series and we got a mystery thriller. I think that's how we have to approach going into the rest of the season. So 2025, I'm recording this in 2025. February 2025, we're going to get most of the season of season 1, and then I think in March 2025, we're going to get the finale. So when it comes to Paradise, y'all, I'll see you guys in March. Inshallah, God willing.